Hey everybody, this is BNJ Productions. I'm Jacob Beatles and this is Brandon Avery, and today we're doing another football talk. Starting off first, we have which team should be the most afraid starting after week 1. Brandon, who is your team this week?
My team this week is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
I did not like how they played against the Cleveland Browns. Anytime anyone is beat or ties the Cleveland Browns, you know it's not good.
Well, I mean, the Browns, they had a way better start than they did last year, definitely, because they didn't win a single game. But, I mean,
Yep.
Tyrod Taylor, Carlos Hyde, they both had pretty good games. Tyrod Taylor ran for that long touchdown in the third quarter, I think, and went into overtime, and it was a tie, like you said. And the Steelers were a little slow. James Conner had a good game in replace of Le'Veon Bell, but there was something wrong with Big Ben and Antonio Brown a little bit, their connection and the rest of the offense.
I think there's something wrong with the whole team today. Too many off-the-field distractions, whether that's Le'Veon's fault or the offensive line's fault for starting all the drama, really.
And do you think that Le'Veon Bell should be traded from the Steelers?
Do I think he should? As a Steelers standpoint, no. Do I think he might just because of they don't want to pay him? It could happen.
Okay.
Depends on this second week how good the backup running back does.
Well, in order for Le'Veon Bell to be able to become a free agent and be paid, then it does take him to be able to suit up and play starting at week 10 and from so on for the Steelers. So it's a long story for the Steelers, and who knows how the season's going to play out, especially if you tie with the Browns. And so for my team, the team that should be the most scared is the Tennessee Titans. New head coach, Coach Vrabel. He did not do very well against the Dolphins. Jakeem Grant had a 102-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, and Kenny Stills had a monster game for the Dolphins. But the Titans, they lost 3 key players. Best lineman and Taylor Lewin. Marcus Mariano went down, and Delaney Walker, the starting tight end, went down too. And I think this team should be afraid, especially when you lose to a team who's had a little bit of a struggle, such as the Dolphins trading Jarvis Landry and lost Ndamukong Suh, and a lot of problems here for Tennessee. And I think it's going to be scary, especially if Taylor Lewin, Marcus Mariota, and Delaney Walker don't come back from these injuries.
I think, first of all, if you're the Tennessee Titans going in this second week, what you got to fix first is special teams and then defense. Because on your offense, you just have players missing. The offense will come.
Well, Blaine Gabbert is the starting quarterback and replaced for Marcus Mariota, so I'm not sure if they'll be able to come back from that.
I mean, if Marcus Mariota comes back,
I know.
they'll be good.
But who knows how long he'll be out, or
Yeah.
who knows how bad he's hurt, and it's going to be a tough situation in Tennessee this year with the Texans and the Jaguars and who's the other team in the game? Oh, well, I'm blanking.
Me too. Whatever.
Whoever in the AFC,
that other team is.
the AFC West, then it's going to be a tough situation there. All right. Up next, we got reacting to the top 10 AP list in college football for week 3, and starting off for number 1 is Alabama, and I think that's the most deserved position. Tua Tagovailoa had another amazing game. Even Jalen Hurts got to play a little bit. They stomped the team they played, almost a school of the blind, school of the deaf. But, I mean, Nick Saban completely destroyed that team, and he has no mercy whatsoever. The Alabama team hadn't had an amazing quarterback like Tua in ever under Nick Saban's control. So I think it's going to be very difficult for any team to beat him. Okay, number 2 this week was Clemson. Very close game against A&M. I don't think they should have came out with that win. I think the refs kind of screwed A&M over. But, I mean, it is what it is, and they showed some promise. The D-line, the best in the country. A&M's offensive line was incredible in that game and held them off quite a bit. And Kelly Bryant had a really good game in the second half of the game, and he ran all over the field, and he took him under control.
The fact that they let the A&M game be that close, they shouldn't be number 2.
Have you ever played in Kyle Field, and have you ever played against Jimbo Fisher? Jimbo Fisher knew Clemson like the back of his hand, and if the refs weren't in so much control for Clemson that game, I think A&M would have came off with that win. But who knows? Things can happen. I don't know if Clemson should still be number 2, but they didn't do anything to lose that spot.
That's true, but anytime you're that close with Texas A&M.
Yeah, you're biased against the Browns and A&M, but so anything you say can be thrown out the window, I think. Okay. Number 3 on the AP poll was number 3 Georgia. They had a huge win over South Carolina. Pretty much say anything in the SEC East, but there's no competition in there, and it's just Georgia going to have a cakewalk over until they face Alabama in the SEC championship, and who knows what goes from there. They're an incredible team. They're young. They're going to fight. Jake Fromm is an incredible quarterback, and I think it's going to be an amazing year for them. Who knows if they can beat Bama or anybody else on that case, but they're going to be good. Number 4, Ohio State had another huge win. They played well. Urban Meyer comes back the game after next, and they're just a young team again, and they have a lot of skill, and they got a pretty big win. And number 5, Oklahoma, big win over UCLA. Coach Chip Kelly and the young guys at UCLA, not very good. Again, Kyler Murray, people are saying he's one of the best quarterbacks, even though he left A&M, and like we said last week, he's a very Baker Mayfield type of player, and kind of left, but still a lot of skill, and he's going to, I don't know if he can win. I think West Virginia is a dark horse for the Big 12 crown, but who knows how Oklahoma's going to do with the rest of the Big 12 coming up, and a lot of big games against Texas, West Virginia, TCU, a lot of games like that. Another thing, Ohio State plays TCU. College game day is going over to Fort Worth this week, and it's going to be an incredible game there. Gary Patterson, it's going to be crazy. Number 6, Wisconsin, Jonathan Taylor adding more and more hype to his Heisman candidacy with a big win last week, and they're a pretty good team. Brandon thinks they're overrated.
I don't know if they're overrated. I don't think they'll be in the top 10 at the end of the year. I don't think they're good. They may be top 25, but I don't think they're going to be a top 10 when it's all said and done.
Yeah, the Big Ten is definitely always a crazy kind of case. You got Michigan. Michigan State just lost to Arizona State, kind of giving the Pac-12 a little bit of hope, even though Arizona was supposed to be the good team. Arizona State kind of took a lot of people by surprise and beat Michigan State in that game. I'm thinking Saturday night, right after the A&M Clemson game. Number 7, it's Auburn, one of my teams to watch this year. Another incredible SEC West team. The SEC West is the best division in college football with A&M, Auburn, Alabama, LSU, Arkansas. A lot of good teams in that division. Auburn continues to set themselves apart, and they played really well. They got the win over Washington, and Washington, another great team with Jake Browning, and who's actually a little later on the list in this top 10. But Auburn's going to be an incredible team this year, and I think they've got a lot of promise. Number 8, Notre Dame had the win over Michigan, another one of my teams to pick who has a chance to beat Alabama. But they played well. The defense is amazing, and it's going to be a little more proving. Like you said, September 17th, I think, is when they play Stanford, and it's going to be crazy. Number 9 is Stanford. Just speaking of the devil, Bryce Love finally got his first rushing touchdown of the week last week. And they won their game, and they're starting to look a little promising. They've had a little trouble since Andrew Luck left back in the day, but in 2012 to go to the Colts.
I think this is also a team like Wisconsin. I don't see Stanford even being ranked by the end of the year.
Okay. Yeah, because big game against Notre Dame, USC, a lot of big teams in the Pac-12 this year. And number 10, Washington, the only team with a loss on the list, but that loss was to Auburn, and it was a really close game, and you said they're overrated too, you think?
I think they are overrated. Not as much as I think Stanford is. I think they'll be still in the top 25 at the end of the year, but I don't think Washington is a top 10 team right now.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I think Auburn was a really good team, and they beat them. Jake Browning's an incredible quarterback, and I think they have a chance to help them do good in the Pac-12. Okay, up next we got the 2 Monday night football games on tonight. The Rams are at the Raiders, and the Jets are at the Lions. So the Jets and the Lions play first. Detroit is the Jets are a 7-point underdog, while the Raiders are a 5.5-point underdog in their game. And for the first of the Jets and the Lions, do you have anything, Brandon, you want to say about this game tonight?
I think this will be a good game between bad teams, in my opinion. I think I see the Jets pulling out a win if they can. I lost my train of thought. Back to you, Jacob.
Yeah, if Sam Darnold can play at an exceptional level, kind of like he did in the preseason, but he's a pretty young quarterback, gets drafted number 6 out of USC, and he had a lot to prove in college. He didn't exceed expectations, but he didn't fall short of them either. But, I mean, it's his first start starting over Josh McCown, and the Jets are very excited, the Jets fan base. New York is excited. This kid's got a lot of promise, and who knows what he's going to do against a semi-decent Detroit. And, I mean, the running back situation at Detroit is a little iffy with Abdullah and Kerryon Johnson, but Matthew Stafford always brings some talent to the field, and it's going to be a close game tonight. I do think the Lions can win this just because it's Sam Darnold's first game, but if Sam Darnold does incredibly well, then it could be a pretty close game.
Yep.
Then up next is the Rams and Raiders, and this was kind of my year's pick, kind of blowout with the Rams. Are just going to show Josh Gruden. He made a mistake trading Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack had a pick six last night, a fumble when Aaron Rodgers went out of the game, and Khalil Mack had an incredible game for the Bears, even though they fell short because Aaron Rodgers, like Stephen A. Smith says, he is a bad man. He's the best quarterback in football right now, especially when he's healthy. But back to the Rams and the Raiders. What do you think is going to happen tonight?
I think the Rams are going to drop 40 on the Raiders, if not more, tonight.
Yeah. Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, they're both incredible over Sean McVay, and they had an incredible year last year. And who knows how a lot of the receivers, Brandon Cooks, new receiver, Cooper Kupp, a lot of good young guys on the receiving side of the ball, Robert Woods. And I think they have a chance to just completely destroy that Raiders defense. And it's kind of a proving year for Derek Carr and Marshawn Lynch on the offensive side of the ball for the Raiders, and even John Gruden. I mean, it's going to be tough for them to be able to prove that they made the right call in that trade. But it's going to be I think the Rams are going to pull out with a big-time win over that. And all right, I think that's all we have to talk about. Anything you want to add about this past week in the NFL or anything?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, well, this has been BNJ Productions, Brandon and Jacob's Football Talk. I'm Jacob Beatles, this is Brandon Avery, and we'll see you later.